What's up, gamers? Mask Gamer here today to bring you another installment of my weapon review for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Today we are talking about the Type 95. First off, we're going to go ahead and do a spray comparison here. This is with no attachments. We're going to go ahead and shoot from the hip, and then we are going to aim down the sight so you can get a little bit of an idea of the accuracy of the weapon. And then we'll go ahead and jump into some gameplay here shortly. This is a 3-round burst weapon, so basically I'm holding completely still and shooting as quickly as the gun will allow to give you the best idea of what the spray looks like. As you can see, this weapon is pretty darn accurate, and this is, like I said, with no attachments. Previously we've done several of the other assault rifles. Type 95 is probably one of the best and yet most controversial weapons in the game. Here we're going to do the same thing, but we have a red dot and rapid fire. This would be the preferred setup for this weapon. Increases the rate of fire dramatically and makes a huge difference when you're using this weapon, especially since it's a 3-burst weapon. As you can see, this thing is as accurate as a laser beam. I highly suggest that if you are a good player, you pick this one up and go shoot some people in the face. So let's go ahead and jump into another one of my gameplays. We will be having another gameplay for every single review that we do here on every single weapon in the game. This one is going to be on Lockdown, another domination gameplay here. In this I am using the Type 95 with a red dot and rapid fire, and you'll kind of see this one you're going to want to play a little bit, I would say not conservatively, but you have to think a little bit more because you do have the big limitation of it being a 3-round burst weapon. Even with the rapid fire, you definitely want to be careful as far as what you're doing. It's not as much of a rushing weapon as it is a long-range, extremely accurate weapon. But if you have a good trigger finger and you're a smart player, you can do a lot of damage with this thing. This weapon is one of the most controversial weapons in the game. You'll hear people complaining, "Oh man, Type 95, oh you're a noob, you're using a Type 95." Well, guess what? I beg to differ. This gun does take a lot of skill to use. Yes, it is highly accurate. Yes, it is highly powerful. But it is a 3-round burst, and I don't think anybody that just purchased this game right away can use it effectively. So it definitely takes a lot of skill to use. So if you're doing some destruction with this weapon, you know, I don't think you're a noob for using it. I think you're a skilled player. So anyways, the feel of this weapon, it is lightweight, highly accurate. I do not personally care for the iron sights. I think they're too obstructive. I think they get in the way too much for what you need to do on the battlefield here. So I suggest using a red dot because this is an accuracy weapon. If you want the best accuracy, definitely use the red dot with it. You know, you can always use the other optics attachments if you prefer those, but I think that personally the red dot is the most effective aiming tool in the entire game, so I usually would use that attachment. I think the holographic and the thermal and all those are fun to use and everything, but I don't think you're going to have the largest amount of success if you use those exclusively. Now, like I said, with the attachment options here, red dot and rapid fire makes this gun extremely beast, and you will get a lot of pissed off players after you kill them using the rapid fire. As you can see, it's got a pretty quick aim, and it's got an even quicker shot when you do put on that rapid fire. Now, as far as the ratings on this, I do the ratings on 4 different categories, 1 to 5, with a total of 20 points being available for each weapon. For the Type 95, we have the power, which is the overall power of the weapon. I have given this weapon a 4, so it does deal out a huge amount of damage. Accuracy and reliability, I would be safe to argue that this is the most accurate weapon in the game. If it's not the most accurate, it's one of them up there. So accuracy and reliability, I've given this a 5. The movement on this, I've given it a 4 because you know, it's just about as quick as running with an SMG. So you do have good mobility, especially if you're using stalker. The biggest deficit to this one is going to be the first strike, which is going to be if you come head to head with somebody, you know, who's going to win that gunfight, who's going to get that first bullet off. This one I'm giving it a 2 because it is burst fire. If you come up against somebody with a SMG or an ACR or something like that, you will lose a lot of those battles if they're a decent player. So the overall score for the Type 95 is a 15 out of 20, one of the higher rated weapons in the game, in my opinion. If you're a good player, this is a great option for you. Now, as far as the game types for this, most game types are good for this. I don't necessarily know if it would be the best for free-for-all. If you need to jump, turn around, and get somebody that's shooting you from behind, it'll be a little bit more difficult. But overall, I mean, you can pretty much use this with everything depending on the skill level that you have in the game itself. As far as the player types, I rank this by the type of player that you are, and in my opinion, there's 3. You have the beginner that might not necessarily be familiar with Call of Duty or first-person shooters as a whole, or have limited experience with them. You have your average, which is what I would consider the vast majority of Call of Duty players that are playing this game today. And then you are going to have your good players, which are, you know, skilled players. I consider myself somewhere between average and good, depending on the day. I would say for this weapon, you know, you want to be an average to good player. The average people will have limited success with it. The good players are going to have a lot of success with this weapon because of its effectiveness. The player types, you have your 3 player types that I'm using this to judge on, and that is defensive, which would be the guy I'm shooting at right now, kind of camping, defending positions, defending flags, defending bomb sites, things like that. Then you're going to have your moderate or mid player. That would be someone that's not necessarily rushing, but not necessarily camping, somewhere in between. They might rove a little bit, kind of playing in the middle of the field there. So that would be your moderate player, and then you have your aggressive or your rusher type player, which is the person that's first out the gate, in everybody's face, rushing everybody. That would be your aggressive. For this game type, this weapon type, I would suggest that you be a moderate to defensive player to use this effectively. Although, if you are a really good player, you can definitely be aggressive with this weapon. It does have that capability. Now, as far as the class setups, this one, like most weapons, I am typically going to suggest that you use a sleight of hand. Get your reload speed up if you're in close battles. You know, that might not necessarily be a must for this, but I highly suggest it. For the second one, I'd say quick draw, assassin, or hardline. The reason I say quick draw first for this is because it does have that limited first strike ability, and can help by aiming down the sights, because the hip fire is a little bit difficult to use with this weapon at times. And then, of course, I also suggest hardline and assassin. Assassin will help keep you a little bit more stealthy using this weapon, which will give you that added advantage, or hardline if you're looking to get those kill streaks up, like I'm typically doing myself. And then, of course, Stalker. Stalker will give you the ability to juke out the opponent. It will give you the ability to move, strafe, and give you overall advantage as far as the movement goes if you're fighting with a couple people. And this one is good, especially at long range with Stalker, because if somebody is gunning at you, you're able to strafe and maintain your accuracy with this weapon. So basically, continuing with this gameplay here, I mean, it's pretty decent gameplay, not the best, but not the worst. At the same time, it's giving you a good example of, you know, how you want to use this weapon. I probably play a little bit in between moderate and aggressive. I'm usually aggressive. I get a couple of decent kill streaks in this game and everything, but just want to give you an example of how to use it. Usually when you're aiming with it, you want to give it kind of a sweeping motion. Will give you the best success with it, especially if your opponent is moving. That'll give you a chance to you know, use the burst fire to its best of its ability, as opposed to having all 3 of your weapons, you know, all 3 of your bullets hitting the same spot when they're moving. Now, if they're sitting there, obviously, you know, you want to spray it as much as you can, because it will maintain accuracy, because this weapon is just ridiculously accurate, probably one of the most accurate weapons in the game. So a recap here, Like I said, this is one of the most controversial weapons. You're going to hear people complaining about it when you kill them with it. That's just what it is. I disagree with a lot of the claims that people make on it, but you know, it is a really good weapon, and if you're a good player, you're going to have a lot of success with it. The pros to this weapon is that it's powerful, extremely accurate, and definitely an all-around good weapon and very versatile. The cons, obviously, it is a 3-round burst, so it can make some situations a little bit tricky just because of what it is. So, anyways, guys, we're wrapping up this review. I will continue to do each and every weapon in the game, so stay tuned. I'm going to try to do one every other day or so, depending on what my real life work schedule is outside of gaming and YouTube and whatnot. So anyways, guys, I appreciate the support. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to support our channel, please subscribe. We do appreciate it. And if you have any good video ideas or have any comments or questions, please put them below. And until next time, Masked Gamer is out.